Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
Okay, so what dank, dusty pile of ancient anime do we have today?
Well, so today we got something pretty dusty. It's Genesis Survivor Gaaiarth.
Pretty dusty.
OVA from 92 to 93 is when it came out, 3 episodes. They're each their own mini OVA because they're 40-ish minutes apiece. Directors, so Shinji Aramaki was the director of the first episode, best known for doing the Appleseed movies and the Starship Troopers CG movies.
Oh, man.
So he's very much a CG guy.
Yeah.
Also did a lot of mechanical design on stuff, a ton of mecha stuff like Exzel 1 he did mechanical designs for.
Oh, damn.
Megazone 23 and Gundam Igloo of all things.
Oh, really? That was actually pretty... That had some cool designs in it.
Igloo's got good designs, but yeah.
I mean, the robots in Igloo looked amazing. It was just the people that looked weird.
But regardless, CG, right? You could tell that CG is kind of his bailiwick.
That's his jam.
Second episode was Masayuki Uzeki. Harder to pronounce. He's done a lot of storyboard and episode direction. The one thing I saw that he did direct other than this was the Fuma Conspiracy, Lupin the Third movie. So
Really?
enough Lupin the Third movies to go around for everybody, I suppose.
He has like 400.
Yeah. And then the third director, third episode, is Hideaki Oba. Did a lot of storyboards and episode direction for a lot of different stuff. Also, another director on this was Hiroyuki Kitazuki. He's done a lot of animation work on things such as Gundam and Ideon. And the one other thing I found that he directed, which was interesting, was the Starlight Angel portion of Robot Carnival.
Ah.
So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Starlight Angel, I remember being one of the more interesting ones on there.
Definitely
so
was, yeah.
we'll have to do that at some point, actually, because it's a good OVA.
I like to rewatch that anyway. It's been a while.
Writers, so it's a lot of the same people. So Shinji Aramaki was one of the writers. Hiroyuki Kitazuki was one of the writers. And Imu Ari. The only other thing I could find Imu worked on was Exzel Reborn, and then some of Bubblegum Crisis and Bubblegum Crash. So...
Man, all this stuff is so incestuous.
Yeah, the Japanese animation industry is that way. So Animation Studio was AIC in partner with ArtMic, and apparently sometime after they made this, AIC just bought all of ArtMic. That's why they're not really around anymore.
Makes sense.
What else have they done? We've covered this before for AIC, but Tenshi Muyo, Record of Lotus War TV, Godanner, Oh My Goddess, Pumpkin Scissors, Exzer 1.
Yep.
Also, Big Bang Studio worked on this. They've done a ton of stuff, including the original Appleseed OVA, Big
nice.
O, and of all things, the end of Evangelion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's got, I'm not going to say it's a superstar powerhouse of people that worked on this, but it's, it's a pretty well-known
They got
names
credentials.
they worked on a lot of stuff. So anyway, so what the hell happens on Genesis Survivor Gaaiarth? So
All kind of stuff.
yeah, so basically it's a tech fantasy where it's post-apocalyptic-ish in its setting. There was some great war that happened 100-ish years ago, which they don't really show, and we'll talk about that. But, there's robots.
It seems like they settle, humans went out into space. It's just one of the planets they settled because there's like crash ships everywhere.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Yeah, are you even on Earth? Are you not on Earth?
No, you're not, because the planet is Gaaiarth.
Yeah, but is that just Earth by another name? It's
I never
you know what
thought
I
of that
mean?
one.
It's who knows? It doesn't
Mind
matter. It's
blown.
immaterial.
Yeah, it doesn't
right?
matter.
And
There was a great war. We know that one.
there was some sort of great war, and it's got that swords and sorcery, but the sorcery comes by way of technology.
I love the crazy dances they do to make magic happen.
Yes, it's
good.
very interesting. And there's robots everywhere. There's beasts across the land that attack people and do stuff as the monsters are doing fantasy, but they're
all
robots.
Robots, yeah.
Yeah, with AI. There's satellites involved.
Oh, that's my favorite part.
Some of the robots have cool satellites. Very gun sword. Right?
Yeah, like a few of the robots can hook up to satellites and
pretty cool.
shoot you from orbit.
So,
and cool stuff.
Main character here is Ital, which is the most mullet hockey player looking blonde haired dude.
Oh god,
Human teenager, I'd say, 18 to 24.
Yeah,
hard to tell.
Raised by robots.
Raised by Randus, which is one of the old war robots that were aligned with the humans.
Excuse me, Warroids, sir.
A Warroid,
the
that's
most
correct.
like Saturday morning cartoon by my toy name ever.
And he talks about Republican soldiers, which seem to be the beasts of the modern day, which are these, various beast-looking robots. The horses are robots that turn into bikes and all this kind of stuff, right? So they get attacked, and this guy, you find out later, it's a Beastmaster, which I thought was interesting.
Beastmaster.
Demanding somebody named Sakuya, which you'll meet way later, but we won't really talk about. And Randus gets killed, Tao gets defeated, and he has to set out from his home and figure out what's going on, maybe get some revenge. That's what he's doing, right? He runs into one of the other main characters, Sahari, who's a beast hunter, so goes around and hunts beasts. And Ital's kind of that. It's a little bit of a fish out of water story because he doesn't really know what's going on in the greater world. He's been isolated with his robot friends since birth or whenever he got picked up.
They scavenge the beasts.
They scavenge the beasts. They scavenge the cores.
That's kind of important,
and the usable parts. Yeah, from
they
the
don't
beasts.
just kill them for fun. They like scavenge stuff and sell them.
So they end up running into this giant robot centipede. I mean, it's enormous. It's like city sized. And I don't know. Itaro is somehow, or Ital, I should say, is somehow invincible, and he gets eaten by it.
But he's just super, super lucky.
Yeah, it's interesting. And he finds inside this thing like a half together Warroid named Zaxxon, which is one of like the big badass heroes from the past.
He's not
you come to
one
find out later.
badass hero. He's the badass hero.
Fair. Yeah, and they end up going back to a town. I think the town,
I can't remember.
I think it's called Warlock. The town has a strange name, but regardless, they go back to a town, and then it continues from there. And they get attacked again, of course. And Zaxxon and Ital and Sahari and another one of the beast hunters, Fake, kind of team up over the course of the episodes to figure out what's going on. And they find out that one of the other old terrors from the old war is going to try to essentially take over the world again, destroy everything. I can't quite tell.
It's just your stock, destroy all humans.
Yeah, it's pretty
deal.
stock in its plot there. But yeah, that's what happens in Gaiyarth without giving too much away. So what did you like in Gaiyarth?
Let's see. It was 3 episodes that were like 40-ish minutes apiece, so it had plenty of time to like actually flush out a reasonable story. There were actual character arcs, which is always nice. A lot of these OVAs, they just kind of like glass right over
I think they were smart. They kept the story small and the amount of characters small, and it allowed it to breathe. It's like the opposite of Plastic Little, where there wasn't enough time to figure out what the hell was going on or give anybody an arc. Here, characters did have arcs.
Yes,
so
they did.
That was very good.
There was breathing room. The Warroids had awesome designs.
Yeah,
like I can't say enough about that.
Even the beast designs were pretty cool.
Being able to hook up to satellites and blast shit from orbit is amazing. I'd put that in every story ever. All the beast designs were cool. All the character designs in general, aside from Mullet Master, was pretty good. He's so 90s.
I like some of the music. Like some.
Oh God, it was like shred-tastic.
Yeah, it was
such
that
80s
shredding metal. 80s, 90s Japanese.
I'm glad you
metal.
mentioned that because I meant to mention that. I forgot to write it down.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was really good.
The setting,
the setting is definitely probably the thing that stacks.
Well, I have good and bad with the setting. I mean, I wish I got to see more of the setting and got a better feel for it.
The problem with the whole thing is you don't get enough information. I'd like a little more, like you said before, a little big war. They just call it the big war.
Yeah.
But like a little big war backstory. Maybe like 10 seconds of flashback.
I could have used a flashback. I never thought I'd say that, but I could have used a flashback.
The one time I want a flashback.
It's not like Attack on Titan where you get like episodes of flashback and you're like, okay, I've had enough of this.
I'd like a little more.
But yeah, info. The setting is good. I always liked that kind of setting. It was very kind of Scrap Princess or
exactly. That's
Final
what
Fantasy
made me think
VI.
of. Yeah, definitely.
Or Iria wasn't really the same type of setting, but similar-ish.
Kind of similar, yeah.
Similar-ish. I like that. The other thing, and this is a completely random thing, but the ridiculous giant sword named the Grand Slaber.
Yes.
Best name for a sword ever.
It drove me
I want
nuts
to wield the
sometimes.
Grand Slaber.
Like, why is it just the Grand Saber?
It's not the Grand Saber, sir. It's the Grand Slaber.
I know.
You will name it appropriately.
Because it's slavering things.
Oh, it's fantastic. Anything you didn't like besides the kind of wish we had some flashbacks there?
I mean, it was a stock clunky OVA. Like, you're never going to get it as flushed out as a whole series. So, like, there's always that crunch time factor where they kind of, like, just jam a lot of stuff in. But other than that, it was a little clunky, a little corny here and there.
They restrained themselves pretty well, though, to not go too far in scopes. You actually, you got a decent, well-contained story for the time.
It was paced
had.
very, very well, I thought. Like, there was no point where I'm like, this is boring. Like, get on with it. Like, there's enough happening every episode.
I'll have my standard bitch that the final fight is super lame, as it usually is.
Thanks, Japan. Like, again.
Always the way.
Like, every time.
Hey, the journey. It's about the friends we met along the way.
As awesome as the Grand Slaber was, it really, like, it did a hell of a lot to, like, a million chumps, but then it just got, like, slapped out
kind
his
of
hand,
didn't
basically.
play in after that. My only other bitch, and this is, I don't even think this is bad writing. This is just the character stuff that I hate. Like, Sahari acts like a child. For an episode and a half, you're like, girl, you gotta stop. You gotta stop acting like this. You're driving me crazy.
The legendary jealousy.
The legendary jealousy to the level of, like, complete, no, like, illogical madness, which I've seen that happen in real life, so it's not exactly unrealistic, but it's not something I necessarily need to see in my fantasy.
That was
anime.
like kind of a contrived character arc almost, because they couldn't do anything else with her. So they had to like just make her like go off the deep end, just so she could come back and not be an idiot. At the end.
She was there kind of just to be the love interest, like.
And she was fan service too. I mean, that friggin' outfit. Come on.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean,
it wasn't.
It's still Japan.
There was nothing over the top fan service in this, except for
there was one scene.
The android chick that was like naked for half of it.
Well, yeah, and then there was one scene with Sahari who was, Ital just wandered in on her in the shower, like, "What? I'm a bumpkin. I don't know what I'm doing."
Is there any one of these OVAs that doesn't have like a ubiquitous shower scene?
No, everything does.
It's
Even
stock.
freaking Macross has a shower scene.
I'd be mad if it didn't.
It's the staple of the 80s and 90s.
It'd just be weird.
Japan. All right, so what's your final verdict on Genesis Survivor Gaiyarth?
We got to come up with a good rating system. I'm going to go with A's and B's. I would give it like a B to a B+. It wasn't amazing, but I liked enough stuff about it that I would definitely watch it. I'm glad I watched it, and I would recommend other people watch it.
I give it like 9 Beastmasters out of 15.
Okay, that's pretty good. So that's basically a B+.
It's I mean, it's maybe closer to like a C+, but it's, you know what? It's entertaining. It's not going to take that much of your time. It's about all three together about the length of a movie.
Yeah, basically.
And it's entertaining enough. It's got good designs. It's got decent character arcs. It has an actual ending, even if the final fight leaves something to be desired. So, yeah, watch it. Why not? Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe, and may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.